Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to have you all back at the International Women Entrepreneurs virtual activities. My goal is to invite women entrepreneurs locally and globally to share their journey with us and, of course, talk about their business that they are in. And I'm excited about the first session we have for 2021. Today, I am delighted to introduce the author of the book, Rising from the Dust, A Woman's Journey to Self-Recovery. Please join me in welcoming Fauza Beltz.
Thanks, Kadela. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I'm just excited. I'm always really thankful when God opens a door for me to share. I normally don't take it for granted because I know, yeah, there are so many others who wants to have the opportunities as well. So I'm always thankful for every opportunity that I actually get to share. And it always makes me happy also that I always know that I am here standing alone together with you on the other side. But I know we are not alone. We are in this together. And yeah, it's just a privilege and an honor to share today. So I know we are a bit digitalized nowadays. Often what I would do, if we were all sitting in a room together, I would ask each one of us to turn to the person either on your right or on your left, to look at them in their eyes and tell them that they are beautiful and wonderfully made, created. But because, but because today we are on Zoom, yes, we have to navigate. So I still want to do that because it really excites me. So I would like for each one of us to look on our screen and tell that person looking back at us that she is beautiful and wonderfully created.
You are beautiful and wonderfully created.
Yes.
Gory, Saleha, Asli, and yourself.
I think this is something that we often have to say to ourselves because, you know, we get busy, we get caught up in things and things happen and, you know, suddenly we don't even see the goodness, the beauty that, you know, we have, each one of us naturally. So when Kadela asked me to share, I actually asked her, you know, what would you like for me to share with the women? Because I feel like all the women in your platform, you know, they're already running ahead, they're already running the race. And she told me, just share your story. And what a beautiful thing to do, to share my story, because that's all what I know. That's all what I know. And I love sharing stories. So it's gonna be a bit of a talk, but as I talk, I want you ladies to think about your own life journeys, where it all began to where we are today. Because yes, we might be looking, we are all have it all together, but there are times in our lives where sometimes you go like, you know, so I'm gonna share this journey, I'm gonna tell this story. So as Kadela has introduced me, my name is Fauza, and I would like to tell you all a story about this little girl who grew up in a small village in the coastal part of Kenya. Like many children born around the world who are planned for, who are celebrated by the community, by the family members, they always get excited. This particular child did not fall in that category. In fact, her parents did not even know each other well. It was what we refer to nowadays as the one night stand. She was unplanned for and not even expected for. However, she appeared in her mother's womb as it was intended for by the universe. Her parents were not even married, so she was conceived out of wedlock. She was taken to the family of the father who denied responsibility. The mother then decided to go back to the parents. After a few months, she left her parents and she went to the city with the girl. 3 years later, the mother met another man, but this now forced her mother to give the child to her mother, the grandmother now of this little girl. She stayed with her grandparents until when she was 8 years old. By then, the father had softened up and instructed his mother to go get his daughter. You can just imagine the confusion that was going on in this little girl's mind. First of all, it was her mother letting her go, and now the grandmother is letting her go. Everything she knew and was familiar was just taken away. Now, ladies, this girl is your only Fauza, the one who is talking to you right now. The little girl who was neglected, abandoned, abused, both physically and emotionally, remained inside of me. And as she had problem loving herself, relating with other people and life, especially during the teenage years when we are all trying to fit in our homes, trying to fit in our communities, trying to really navigate, who am I? Like many other children, Fauza struggled with that as well. And as usual, more often rather, children who have moved from home to home with different sets of adults to raise them up, these children often tell themselves stories. Stories like, you are not good enough, you are not beautiful enough, you are not worthy of love, you are not worthy of loving, no one will ever love you. And at times, they also believe they are some of the names they were called and the labels they actually also identify themselves with. A few years ago, I read a book by a lady named Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. In her book, Louise Hay says, if we are willing to do the mental work, almost anything can be healed. It is after I read Louise Hay's book, I realized that I can heal my life. At this point, I was trying to reconcile with myself the reason of my birth that created family division. It's after this, I started writing the book, Rising from the Dust, A Woman's Journey to Self-Discovery. I did so because I wanted to share my story and face my past, which was, and sometimes even today, is still not easy, as it has made me become vulnerable. When you are often told that you are not wanted, that your existence was not planned for, you often tell yourself lies. Psychologically, the subconscious mind keeps all those labels that you have been called and those that you identify yourself with. This journey has made me really realize that I am not the only one who has gone through this kind of traumas. And that's when I realized that if I'm able to heal myself, I will be able to heal the person next to me, even if it's only just one person. And so sharing my story, it has opened for me new doors. After rising from the dust, the media approached me. They wanted me to share my story. And it's because the content that I shared in the book, in some culture, there are things we are not allowed to talk about, but because I became vulnerable and shared those things that if you look at it in a large perspective, it's always looked at as it's a shame. But I realized after I became open sharing in the media that there are so many other people who they are also going through the same as I did. In
Oh,
fact,
okay. I'm
there,
just in the next one.
there are so many ladies who wrote to me saying that they see themselves in rising from the dust. This and many other stories led me to start Woman to Woman conversation platform, where I bring women together, just like what Kadela is doing today. We share our stories. We share our triumph, our success, our victories, everything that we go through as women to empower each other, to uplift each other, to pray for each other, to give each other a push, because sometimes all we need is just someone to listen to us. That's all what we need. But then creating Woman to Woman made me ponder to myself. I went back to my childhood memories and I really felt, what if someone talked to me when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? At this age where you feel you're a teenager, you feel you're an adult, but you are still dependent on our guardians. You are still dependent on, on our families. When I was going through confusion, worry, fear, anger, anxiety, what if someone talked to me that, hey, you are not alone. You are not alone. It made me ask myself questions like, would that have been made it easier for me to deal with my story? Would that have made it easier for me to love myself more? What impact would it have made if someone looked at me when I was in that vulnerable season and said to me, you will be okay? This and many other thoughts led me to start going back to the beginning. I devoted my time mentoring school children back in Kenya, where I normally go there. I give talks to encourage them, to motivate them, and at times also doing counseling for the boys and girls in the rural areas and in the slums, because their life is even harder sometimes. I wanted to empower these teenagers to know and for them actually to understand that they are powerful beyond measure. There is a higher power that is greater than themselves, and this power supports them. It is for them and not against them. Their purpose here on earth is bigger than they can imagine. I mean, look at my own journey. It hasn't been easy, but here I am today, still pushing and living purposely. As a teenage, I blamed myself. We all do. I'm sure you ladies have also blamed yourself sometimes. It's normal. I hated myself. I was a very angry person. I felt embarrassed of who I was. In fact, I carried a shame around that was not even mine. But look at where I am today. I am just grateful for the journey. While interacting with the teenagers, I discovered the needs they had. Not only that they struggle understanding themselves, but they are also some days where, especially the girls, do not go to school because of lack of sanitary towels. Having a sanitary towel sometimes, it is a luxury. You have to think, in the Western world, in the other parts of the world, it is quite normal. But in some parts of the places where I have visited, many girls often miss going to school every month because they lack sanitary towels. This took me back to my own old days where I would use a piece of cloth when I started my menstruation. Oh, I know it's not the most pleasant thing for you to visualize, but these are real stories. A piece of cloth and then you have to wash it, filled with blood. I had one of my friends tell me, actually, she used toilet paper and cotton wool every month when she was in her period. But these stories, they came after I started sharing my journey. And the reason why these people they share, it's because they see their stories through rising from the dust. And this is what has made me realize that there is a story in everybody. There is a story in each one of us. There is a book in each one of us. But many times we don't want to open up because we don't want to be vulnerable. We just think, what if they know about the real me? Will they still love me? Will they still respect me the way I am? In 2019, there was a story in the news that started in my own country in Kenya about a girl who actually committed suicide because apparently a male teacher had made fun of her after she had leaked and her uniform got messed up. Remember, these are teenagers, and most of these girls are building their identity, they're building their confidence, they're still searching who they are. So if we tell them things which they make them become vulnerable, it does something with them. These are teenagers, and if we make fun of them, they lose confidence. I remember for myself, every time that time of the month came, I was worried. I was always worried about the same leak. Now, before I would stand up, I would ask a friend to check my skirt, just hoping there is no stain from the leak of my monthly period. And most African girls did the same because we don't want to carry the shame of the leak. These and many similar stories that I have heard, and until now, I still hear these stories. I still get messages from different people, made me realize that we all have a responsibility. And it made me wonder to myself, for this girl to take her own life, what was going on in her mind? It must have been really difficult for her to navigate, to understand herself, the period leak, the fun, the jokes the teacher that made on her for her to take her own life. Through this, it really made me realize that I can be the change that I want to see. And that's when I birthed Fauza Foundation, where we empower these young teenagers through motivational talks, mentoring, and also providing sanitary towels and school amenities. And in some cases, we also chip in to support with the school fees. Through this foundation, ladies, and other well-wishers like yourselves, the last couple of years, since 2019 until now, we have supported at least 2,000 girls through this program. Sharing my story, ladies, has taken me to places where I have seen lack and poverty that now I cannot unsee. The visions are in my mind, and they make me every day ask myself, what can I do? How can I navigate to be a blessing to another person? It's through my journey, ladies, that started in a bush in the coastal part of my country, Kenya, through two people who didn't even know each other. They didn't love each other, but they came together. And here I was born from two unloving people. That it has made me realize that each one of us, we are important, we are loved, and we are loved by the higher power. I call that God, because here is why. God does not do anything by accident. He does not make mistakes. He knows everything. And what I know for sure now, without conviction, is that my life was purposely meant to be for a bigger reason. It doesn't matter where your life has started. Each one of us, I'm now fully aware we all have a role to play in our global community to be the change that we want to see in our world. I love this quote from Martin Luther King where he says, "Not everybody can be famous, but each one of us can be great because greatness is determined by service. You only need a heart of love, filled of grace, and a soul generated by love." When you change someone's life, ladies, I'll repeat that again. When you change someone's life, you are not only changing their life, but the lives of an entire village, but the lives of an entire community. As I close, I want to ask each one of us here on this call, having heard my story, what kind of change are you going to make in someone's life to improve their situation, ladies? Thank you very much for listening to me. And I am now ready to take your questions. Before I leave you with a few pointers that I've written from my end. Kadela.
You're very, very inspiring, Fauza. I love the story. Comes from the heart, and it really inspired me. It's quite it's quite teary, but yeah, every one of us has a purpose in life, and if we can touch even one life, it matters. So thank
You're
you.
welcome, my darling. So I have a question for each one of us. You've heard what I've shared, and based on this journey, really, it has made me to be here at this moment. It has made me to share now in International Women Entrepreneur Show today on such a time. And we are all on this current season of our life at this moment. So I just want to take this moment and pose a question to each one of us, which I want you ladies to be honest with yourselves and really go deeper from within. What did you learn about yourselves in 2020? If you want to share or you want to write it down, I think we all have learned something from the previous year. I mean, nobody has expected our world was going to turn the way it has turned. But there are also beautiful lessons that we all have learned. So what have you learned about yourself in 2020? Write it
For
or you
me,
can share.
I don't think we have to waste any time, because in a flick of our hands, change can happen, whether it's good or bad. So, and yeah, I'm very grateful to not because there is something like that, it's pandemic, but I'm grateful that I've learned a lot to get inside of me. You know what I mean?
That's powerful, Kadela. And you can,
Self-love.
yeah, it's powerful because, it's easier to get frightened. It's easier to worry about the future. I mean, we all want the best for each one of ourselves and our families and our children, we all want that. But we need also to be mindful of the inner child. I call that the inner child, which now lead me to my next question. How have you been able to care for for the mental health journey? Because what I know for sure, like what I've shared from my story, everything really starts from the mind. When you tell yourself, that's it, this is it, it's not going to get any better, it's not going to get anywhere, you create all those things in subconscious, whether we know it or we don't know it, it's always in here in our mind. So how have you been able, to take care of the mental health for yourselves, in this during period of time? That's another question that I want to leave us with. You can share or you can write it down for yourself. But what I believe, I want us to be honest, to be authentic, really to go deeper within and really search the tiniest corner in our heart and really ponder, how has this journey been for you mentally?
Please share your opinions and your ideas and anything that you can share, ladies. They're writing.
I would
Rena
like to
said,
share.
yeah,
Would you like
please.
to share?
Sure.
Go
Um,
ahead, Danny.
I feel that that's a really important question that we don't actively, maybe I feel I wasn't as aware of it because you just get caught up in life and you just get caught up in the cycle. But for me, I think it was my learning of being more kinder to my mental health would probably be to let go a little. Like, I can't, things will happen the way that they're meant to happen. And sometimes I feel when we get tested, we just try to hold on and construct what we feel, which is the fear that's kind of leading us. But I think I've definitely learned to understand that I just need to take a step back sometimes. And sometimes the situation is bigger than what I can control. And I just have to trust the process to say, okay, I'm here, I'm holding on, but I'm just going to trust it and I'm going to allow it to take me where it's meant to take me.
Okay, that's powerful. And yeah, I mean, it's just being intentional and really listening. How are we responding to the chaos around us? How are we navigating? Because fear, when we get afraid, it actually, for me, personally, it sort of blocks me. And when you don't think of anything else, you are just worried for that. And when your mind is just blocked, you close all the channels, you close yourself, you know. So yeah, I just thought it will be interesting to hear from each one of us because we are all navigating. And yeah, lastly but not least, are you driven by your own purpose or someone else's expectations in your business or in your own life? How are we managing that? Because it's so easy to see the grass is green on the other side. It's easy to see the beauty of others. You know, that's why I said, you know, look to the person looking back at you and tell them they're beautiful. You know, it's the same in our lives, in our businesses, in everything. It always seems easier for others, but not ourselves. And this is a journey that I have had to be to be careful about myself, you know. And I'm just curious to hear from you ladies. How has it been for you? You can write it down, or, you know, if you want to share.
There's a thing here from Ashley. She said, I learned that I have me as my biggest capital. I am grateful and I love to love those who love me unconditional. And I'm born with a story. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's really, really powerful. And yeah, I think pretty much that's it for me. The last one that I want to leave with each one of us is, what baggage are you still holding on to that you need to release?
That's a great one. I'm sure all of us have that, and I'm working on it every day.
We all have something that we need to let go, whether it's forgiveness. I have had to really be intentional on my forgiveness, on my loving others, because if you've gone through so much in your life, you find it so difficult to forgive. You find it so, when something happened in your business, you're like, oh, maybe it's because the way I grew up, maybe it's because the way what I went through. You try to identify yourself with the seasons of your life and what is happening, you know, in your life. And so, you know, it's about I always say, going back in the wardrobe. I call the wardrobe, and open the cabinets and doing the cleaning up. What do I need to clean? What do I need to let go? What is it that is still holding me back? Because as long as we are still carrying on these little things unconsciously, it will always come back to us, always. So what do you need to let go, ladies, in 2021, so that you can do the business the way your why has been, purposely pushing you to do? What do you need, because otherwise we're going to be going back and forth, back and forth. What do you need to release? We all have something to let go.
I think we can just write it down ourselves and work towards it. That's what I suggest, ladies. That's what I think we should do. Write down all the things that we think that we can't let go at this point of time, and then work on it every day. That's, yeah.
Okay. So that's for me from my side, Kadela. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me the platform to share. I really hope and pray that, we are going to align ourselves purposefully, remembering why. Why do we do what we do? And who can I be a blessing to? And sometimes, ladies, it's not even the money. I've had ladies and teenagers say to me, we just want someone to listen to us. That's it. But many times we think, oh, maybe they want money. No, they just want a shoulder to lean on. Thank you, Kadela.
Thank you so much to Fauza. And please share where we can get your books. You said it's in Amazon and Kinokuniya, right?
Amazon. Yes, it's on Amazon.com, Amazon UAE. It's in Kinokuniya in Dubai Mall. The Japanese bookstore, the big one in Dubai Mall, it's there. And you can also order from my website. If you would like, I can also deliver to your doorstep safely. Leave it outside.
Thanks for your time. And thank you, ladies, for tuning in today. And I wish everyone had takeaways and list all the things that, that is not serving our purpose, and work towards it. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Fauza.
Bye. Thank you. Be blessed.
Bye.